is well with everybody. We're going to get started for today talking about why our hormones feel out of control as a woman and how to get them back in balance and how to get them back aligned with the not only with the physical habits that we have, but also the energetic habits that we have. Because many of us are not realizing that it's not only just a physical issue that we're having with symptoms of hormonal imbalances or overall suffering with what's going on inside of our body or our cycle and etc., but it's also a energetic issue. It is a mental issue that we have to address, because when you're not addressing the energetic aspect of it but you're only addressing the physical, you're never actually going to be able to heal. And the reason why for that is because you are not getting to all of the root causes. You are only using surface level band-aids, surface level solutions that you believe are going to give you the key success that you were searching for. And this is the real reason why millions of women dealing with the same issue and not seeing enough actual solutions that they can sustain, because the guidance is off. The hormonal imbalances are not because there's something wrong with your body, but your energy is unpredictable. You're having mood swings, you're having PMS, irregular cycles, painful menstrual cycles, and making you feel like your cycle is a punishment. You're struggling with weight gain, you're struggling with bloating, cravings, and you feel like there's something off with your body and you can't put your finger on it, but you know it's not how your body is supposed to function. And so there are millions of women dealing with that same issue, and we go back and forth to the doctor. We all have the same similar problems. We're telling them, and they're not finding a solution to the problem because that is not getting to the root cause when you're depending on medications, prescriptions, surgeries, and you're doing some type of momentary diet culture. And so that's the reason why millions of women are dealing with the same issue. And your body is asking for a different type of support, but you're not listening to it. So you don't know how to get to that different type of solution. And nor are we taught how to do those things in Western medicine, in society in general. And so we go years of throwing off our balance and not knowing why our body, our cycle feels like a punishment. And then we go for years this way, and then all of a sudden we're trying to figure out how we develop fibroids, cysts, how we have endometriosis, PCOS, how we're sitting here now developing insulin resistance or have been been diagnosed and developed diabetes. But when you look at the cycle as a woman, when you know your cycle phases and how you're supposed to eat for your cycle and what happens during different phases of your cycle, you go into a more insulin resistant time during a certain phase of your cycle. So during that time of your phase of your cycle, when you are craving more sugar and you're eating more sugar because you're craving it and you're like, well, I can't eat it while I'm on my cycle exactly because maybe it makes me cramp, or I know I'm not supposed to eat sugar during this time. So you're thinking when you're having the craving, it's okay for you to give in, right? But you're in a more insulin resistant state, which is going to cause you to develop diabetes after years of you not syncing with your cycle and stabilizing your blood sugar during that time, but instead feeding the cravings. And so then you go 20, 30, 40 years down the line, and now you developed diabetes and you're trying to figure out why. And then you're like, oh, it runs in my family. My grandma has it. My great grandma had it. My mom, my dad, his grandpa, whatever. And you think it runs in your family, but in reality, all of the men and the women in your family have the same habits, and you've carried this generation to generation like a curse, because it is a generational curse. And that's an energetic issue that we're not realizing. You have to release the old habits that have poisoned the family in order for you to get away from that curse. But instead of us seeing it as a curse, we see it as a disease that is going to attack our family for the rest of our lives, and then so on, generation after generation. And that's just not the truth. But you have to know what's really going on for you to get to the truth. Because your hormones are messengers, and they're letting you know that you're imbalanced. Your body is whispering to you, so letting you know that your brain, your gut, your kidney, your liver, your pancreas, all of your functioning systems are off. And these are going to, in return, affect how not only your heart is going to operate, but it's also going to affect how your body is healthy and how your cycle impacts you. So when your liver, your kidney, your pancreas, your gut are off, it's going to throw off your brain. It's going to throw off all the other internal systems, your heart. It's going to throw off your digestive tract. And so we're sitting here trying to figure out why IBS is getting so bad in society. And oh, you're just blaming the food because IBS is running rampant, and it's because you're not eating enough fruits and vegetables, right? But y'all aren't realizing it's not just you need to eat more fruits and vegetables, but you need to cut out the dairy that was never meant for you to consume. You have to stop eating as much meat as y'all are eating, because y'all eat meat multiple times a day, every single day. And then you're wondering why you have IBS. You eat all this processed food with gluten, dairy, processed snacks, processed sugars, all this terrible ingredients in it, and you don't know how to read your labels. And now we're sitting here wondering why we have IBS running rampant, especially in women. We are taught to consume and make it by to the next day, consume and go back to work, fast food, restaurants. As long as you're eating something, that's all that matters, right? And then you sprinkle a little bit of vegetables, you sprinkle a little bit of fruits in there, and you think that, okay, this is going to help me be able to flush my system. Because as long as I eat a little bit of watermelon, as long as I eat a little bit of green beans, that's enough. But we have to stop being kids. Because let's be honest, we have the same mentality that we had when we were a kid, when you were served a vegetable that you didn't like or a fruit that you didn't like. You're sitting here whining and crying because you don't want to eat it, and so you get a little bit of it, and this should be enough, right? We have to grow up, not only with the energies that we have towards foods that actually are nourishing foods, but we also have to grow up with it in the understanding of the fact that you haven't been taught how to take care of your body. So why do you think that the habits that you have currently right now are going to help you in the space of diet culture? Because it hasn't. If it were to work and it would work, it would have worked for you already. When you look in through your lifetime, how many diets you have followed, tried, failed, what succeeded, whatever else, how long did you sustain the diet? Because no matter how you view that diet in that moment, you lost 20 pounds and you looked great for that vacation or your birthday, or you felt good right then. How long did you sustain those results? Because the key factor in between you believing in diet culture and it not working, but you feeling like it's works, so this is the reason why you do it every couple of months, 6 months, or however often, versus you understanding how your lifestyle has to change for you to actually see an energetic impact, for you to be sustaining that energetic impact. You'll see that fine line of a difference. Because society follows diet culture, and society is heavily sick. Millions of women dealing with the same issues. But when women specifically, because I teach a lot of women, when women learn how to walk away from what society has programmed us into and start to understand that we're supposed to go back to our root of eating fruits and vegetables first before you introduce anything else, because it's the reason why toddlers and young little itty bitty toddlers are eating fruits and vegetables when they first start eating, and they're not just being handed a piece of steak and say, here you go. You'll understand how the body is supposed to operate when you go back to eating only fruits and vegetables and allowing your system to reset and to flush. I'm not saying that you have to not only eat raw fruits and vegetables for the rest of your life, and I'm not saying that you also have to only sit here and eat plant-based for the rest of your life if that is not your calling, if that's not your mission. But every single person on this earth should know exactly how their body is supposed to operate without being overloaded. In the current space that society is in, they're overloaded. They might feel good right then, but I'm telling you now, when you are on diet culture, you feel good right then. But to be completely fresh, refilled, actually feeling good and flowing, you will feel lighter automatically, not only energetically, but physically. And when you're not feeling that without you having to do diet culture of calorie counting and restricting, you're not on the right path. You feel good right then, but you cannot sustain that. How you sustain it is you retraining your habits, understanding the fact that the messages that you have from the symptoms that you're getting are being distorted every single time that you ignore them. So then subconsciously your body doesn't trust you anymore. So then subconsciously, every time you do diet culture, you put your body in fight or flight mode. So your body goes, well, I know they're going to go back to eating all this crap and they're not going to calorie count and restrict in a few weeks or a month. So I'm just going to wait. And then as soon as you go back to your old lifestyle, I'm going to hold on to everything that you give me because I was hungry and I think that we're going into starvation mode and we're not going to have any nutrients that we need. And it's not because calorie counting and restricting is wrong, because if that floats your boat and you are comfortable doing that, that's not the problem. The problem is that you already get no nutrients in your food. So then when you flop to this diet culture and you already are lacking the nutrients that you need, and then you're thinking that you getting a bland piece of chicken and some rice and some broccoli is going to fix all the problems that you're having, your body is going, okay, wait a minute. Not only am I not even getting the nutrients that I usually get, which is lacking, but now you're sitting here making me be in a calorie deficit. And so now your body is angry, aka you're hangry. Now you're sitting here dealing with the issue of, okay, I'm hangry, and on top of that, I'm not ever getting full when I eat. And so I'm craving food all day, and I'm mad about it, but hey, at least I'm losing 5 to 10 pounds or 20 pounds. And then when you get off the diet and you're finally letting yourself have dairy, have bread, have meat, or whatever else you were restricting during that time, actually get back to the calorie deficit that you were before, you overindulge and you binge. And it's not because you have a lack of willpower, but it's because your subconscious is going to naturally make you eat more because it cannot trust you. And so it's in a panic state and everything is out of sync. And so now your body is going, okay, so I know that we might do this diet again soon. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold on to all the calories, all the terrible toxins. And then on top of that, when your cycle comes around the next time, because it's not going to be bad the first time, but the next time after you get off of that diet, now your cycle is going to be kind of painful because I've been holding on to everything instead of releasing. So your liver is working overtime to detoxify, but your body's not letting it. So this is causing an imbalance inside of your liver. And then that imbalance inside of your liver is also going to be impacted next time you go through your menstrual cycle phases, that you are insulin resistant and you eat all that sugar again. And so then when your cycle comes around and you're pain, when it's heavy and you're trying to figure out why and you're blaming the sugar, it's not only just the sugar, but it's the habits that you had that led you up to you eating all the sugar. The habits that you had leading up to all the calories that you consumed. Because I used to be a binge eater too. And so as someone who was in that space of binge eating and blaming myself and thinking that me being hungry was the problem and your body having a natural response to you not getting enough nutrition was a problem. But at the time I thought, I'm just hungry. I'm always hungry. Because that was my thing. I'm always hungry even though I eat. I'm working out and I'm always hungry. Maybe I'm just burning too many calories. But I'm not seeing that in my body. If I'm burning a lot of calories, I should be losing weight, right? And the reason behind that is because you're hungry, not because you're burning a whole bunch of calories, but you're hungry because your body is malnourished. When you eat a meal and then right after you can go eat 30 minutes later, or you eat a meal and now you're craving sugar and you're eating a whole bunch of sugary snacks in between and you're not feeling full, like you're not getting a cookie or two, but you're eating a whole roll of Oreos, that's because your body has spiked your insulin. You got not enough nutrients in your food. And so that insulin spike is causing you to use more energy than you were actually converting. And so now you're going to be more hungry. And now you're going to eat more sugar. And this is how you develop insulin resistance. Because your body is not going to respond to that insulin anymore. Your cells specifically are not going to respond to sugar correctly and not convert it into the correct insulin to convert it into energy. And so then your pancreas is expelling more, it's using more energy, and you're not converting any energy. Do you see the full plethora of why y'all wake up with no energy and you're sitting here having to depend on coffee? Or you wake up with no energy even though you slept 8 to 12 hours? It's because you're out of sync. And every single day that you don't rebalance your hormones, you're making it worse. And so this is the reason why when y'all turn the age of, let's say 30s, 40s, now all of a sudden you develop high blood pressure and you're insulin resistant and you're trying to figure out why. But you've been through constant sugar spikes all your life, which causes imbalances. You have poor sleep habits, or you overwork yourself, so then you stress yourself out, which raises your cortisol. And for years of you not rebalancing your cortisol and raising your cortisol consistently, it's going to hit a plateau of a bottom, which is going to cause you to have a cortisol imbalance. So instead of cortisol dominance, you're now going to be at the bottom of your cortisol. And your cortisol is going to be so low, which causes your hormones to be in a chaotic state even more than what they already are. And then, like I said, you're depending on coffee, whether it's before you eat during the day, whenever, and you don't look into what they're doing to coffee, how they're heavily sprayed with pesticides, and you also don't understand how this causes bloating, it causes more imbalances inside the body, not only before or after you eat, but in general. And this causes your adrenal gland, which is your hormone regulator, also to panic. Your adrenal gland is literally the gland that's connected to your brain to let your body secrete the correct amount of hormones that you need every single day. So when you're throwing off your adrenal gland, you may be producing more estrogen or not enough. You may be producing more progesterone or not enough. And that goes hand in hand with the issue that you're having inside of your kidney, your pancreas, your liver, and your gut. They go hand in hand because your liver is your detoxification for your estrogen, ladies. So when your liver is already working overtime, like I mentioned earlier, because you're eating all the foods that you're eating and you're not allowing your body to reset and flush with the correct amount of fruits and vegetables, but you eat meat and dairy every single day for your main meals all day long, you are going to be imbalanced. You eat too little, or you're skipping meals thinking this is the way for you to fast, and then you binge eat later on, and then you think it's a lack of willpower, and you're blaming yourself for being hungry. But your body goes into preservation mode when you don't eat the correct amount of nutrients, and then you decide you're going to skip a meal, or you're not eating enough, and then so now you're craving more, which causes your body, when you're in preservation mode, to store more fat. It causes you to increase the stress hormone inside of your body. And I talked about this before. When you are in a high cortisol state as women, and this is the hormone that we secrete when our body is in panic mode, fight or flight. It's called androgens. And androgens go they go hand in hand just as bad as cortisol, because it's a stress hormone. And that is a hormone that will literally break down each one of your systems. And so then we wonder why our cycle is painful, which our menstrual cycle is a direct connection to how healthy and how good we've been to our body throughout the month. We're going through energy crashes, and then our body doesn't feel like a home anymore. We feel out of touch with ourselves, and we're trying to figure out why. But the truth is because we haven't actually established the root healing that we need by addressing the problems that have caused us to be here. Because in reality, your body is speaking to you loud and clear. Your body wants you to heal. It wants you to see what it can do. Because when you look and you observe how the body reacts, think about how when you cut yourself, I got a little cut, I have a Band-Aid on right now, and it'll be healed within a couple of days. It was a surface cut. You cut your finger, you get a paper cut. You break an arm, you break a finger, which is more dramatic than just a little paper cut. It can heal both. From something as small as a little cut versus something as big as you breaking a bone, your body can heal both. So why do you not believe that your body can heal itself when you give it the right environment and you give it the right support? Why it can't heal itself from a disease? Why it can't be supported every single day so you have energy? Why do you believe that your body is just naturally designed to not have any energy, to not feel good, to have a painful menstrual cycle because all the other women in your family have? The most powerful way for you to create the environment that your body needs and the most impactful environment that your body is craving is for you to use food as your medicine. And learning how to do that creates the real balance that you were looking for. Because that's where it starts. Everybody got to eat. Everybody wants to eat. So why are we not using food as our medicine and learning how to do that? Because all the foods that we're eating right now are causing hormonal confusion. And that's designed that way for a reason. Because when you're hormonally chaotic, so is your brain going to be hormonally chaotic. And when you look at society and how chaotic they are internally when it comes to the mental, you'll see why there's so many young women specifically, and men too, dealing with the issue of depression, dealing with the issue of anxiety, dealing with the issues of panic attack or some type of social disorder in general. When you really sit back and you see the full plethora of how they poison you, feed you the solution, give you another problem, and then feed you another solution, and they keep you as a returning customer, and then the next generation is a returning customer, you will see the agenda that is against our health and why they have created and designed it to be this way. Because when you're not mentally sound, when you are not mentally discerning the way that you could be and you should be, you can't make any executive decisions that help build you up. So this is the reason why when you're having that craving of sugar, McDonald's, Burger King, Red Robin's, whatever fast food place that you're eating, and you're having that heavy craving, and it's really just sitting on your soul to go and get it, and you can't beat it. It's because of all the chemicals that they have thrown in that food and then tested to see how addicting it is. And we're addicted because we have been eating that literally since we started growing teeth. And so we sit back and we're trying to figure out why we're so hormonally chaotic in our big old age. We hit menopause and we're trying to figure out why all of a sudden now we're having all of these premenopausal symptoms, and it's so bad, right? Because I talk to women who are going through premenopausal symptoms, and it's because you have caused a hormonally chaotic state since you started eating. It is not your fault that you didn't know these things, because generations before you weren't taught how to sync with their cycle. And so you were only raised on what they know. But you have to be that stopping point to say, I'm not going to raise any more women specifically, or have myself sitting out here with hormonal imbalances that can be fixed. Because we're going down an issue of infertility rates, PCOS, fibroids, like cysts, endometriosis, and it's ramping up. They're diagnosing people, women specifically, younger and younger. Diagnosing women younger and younger with estrogen dominance. And estrogen dominance causes cancer because it causes blocks. So we're going to see cancer ramp up. By 2030, cancer is going to be at an all-time high when it comes to people being estrogen dominant and insulin resistance, because those two things can and will cause cancer. It goes deeper than you just getting high blood pressure or diabetes, because all of these diseases lead you down a path of developing cancer because y'all don't heal it. You manage it with a prescription. Thank you for the follows and the likes, guys. I really appreciate it. And so every single woman who is craving stability, nourishment, and repairing their body from the inside out, you have to start with balancing your blood sugar, getting anti-inflammatory foods in your life, and cycle syncing from a safe place with safe recipes that help support your natural hormonal rhythm, and understanding each cycle phase and how you should be supporting it with not only food, but with your rhythm, with your rest time, all of it. Because when you're not syncing with your cycle, you don't know what your body needs. And so then you're playing a consistent guessing game of, is it my cravings today or is it my cycle today? Is this going on today or is this going on today? Why do you keep playing a guessing game with yourself? Because the guessing game ain't working at all. Thank you, I appreciate it. When you are ready to not only have delicious foods that help you be able to see how healing food can be, but also allow you to realize that you can enjoy it without all of the terrible toxins that they add inside of your food with additives and fillers. You don't have to have dairy in order for you to enjoy cheese and all the other things, because I love cheese. I love baking. I literally baked an apple pie. I need to post a picture on my story. I baked an apple pie yesterday. You are able to cook and use all plant-based sources. It's just a matter of finding those little substitutes that help change the whole entire recipe. And if you are looking for that support and you want to be in that environment and you're ready to start actually being in the kitchen and cooking those things, whether you're a beginner or you're an expert in the kitchen, it does not matter. I make everything simplified. I have my Eating Away Diabetes cookbook. Even if you're not dealing with diabetes, it helps you be able to understand how to balance your hormones, insulin resistance, A1C, and overall eating your rainbow plate. And it breaks down how to eat a rainbow plate from each plethora of each color of the rainbow. And it also gives you recipes. And that book is linked in my bio. When I tell you that it is a literal strategy of how you start keeping your hormones in a safe place and making your body feel safe within itself again and trust you again, you don't have to become a chef. You don't have to be in the kitchen every single day, all day. These are pretty easy meals for you to not only prep for yourself, but also for you to see how simple it can be for you to make plant-based meals, snacks and all. You have to stop feeling like that your body is turning against you and it's not liking you and that it hates you, right? Because these symptoms that you're having are not random. You dealing with PMS, Your liver is telling you that you're overloaded, and it's telling you that you're estrogen dominant, which is a combination of both. So let's be honest. When you're dealing with fatigue, your adrenal gland is burnt out. And it's so burnt out to the point where now you're dealing with the issue of your adrenal glands are not functioning correctly, which is going to cause that estrogen dominance. So going back and forth between each other. Thank you for the follows. Poor blood circulation, poor blood sugar regulation, poor blood circulation are also going to cause you to be fatigued. And many people are not realizing that you just drinking water is not going to help you be able to get better blood circulation, because you have to get hydration on a cellular level. Majority of the water that you are drinking is going to get lost in the process of trying to hydrate not only your digestive tract, because if you eat a whole bunch of crap, it has to hydrate your digestive tract. And that's why a lot of people are constipated. But it also gets lost in translation, and you usually end up peeing it out before you actually get to a cellular level. That's the reason why fruits and water-based vegetables are so important, because it gives you a different type of water that can be broken down, that has not been treated or tainted, because you're using organic, non-GMO fruits, non-GMO organic vegetables that help you be able to get hydration on a cellular level, that avoids that issue of you having poor blood circulation. And the same thing with poor blood sugar regulation, because when you are sitting here eating a bunch of terrible toxic processed sugars, your body can no longer recognize the real natural sugar when you finally eat your strawberries or whatever else that you're eating. And so then it all categorizes it as terrible toxic sugar. And so then you start expelling more, which makes you crave more sugar. And now you're not craving fruits anymore. And you've been weeks without eating fruits, and you're not craving fruits. And then you're sitting here like, oh, I haven't had any fruit in a minute. I need to eat some fruit. But it's been weeks. So you spend weeks without you hydrating your cells outside of the little itty bitty amount of water that you drink, or you drink a lot of water, and that's still not going to give it what it needs. Because I'm telling you now, when you see the difference of you actually eating more fruits, you'll see the difference of how you weren't doing enough with just drinking water. Because that's the reason why they changed and revamped that whole thing. I think it used to be 8 to 10 glasses a day, right? And now you're supposed to drink enough that's compared to, I think, your body mass or your body weight. It's something like that, whatever it is that they changed it to. And people are doing that, and they're bodybuilders, and yet they're still somehow dehydrated. So then they're talking about how they have to eat more water-based fruits and vegetables. Do you hear it? Do you hear it? Like, this is what I mean by the misconception in society is so heavy to the point where we don't hear it. Like, do you hear it? They're telling you to do one thing, and then you go back and you do it, and it don't work. And then they're like, oop, 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 oop. They caught on. Let's revamp it. Realizing that your body is now not malfunctioning, and your body never malfunctions, and the symptoms are not without reason. Your body is protecting you. It's a very intelligent system. And so it's trying to redirect you towards the right way that it's supposed to feel, but you're not hearing it and you're not listening. Thank you for the follows and the likes. I really appreciate it. When you are ready to heal and stop suppressing it, but actually give yourself the strength to trust you again, you have to restore your rhythm. And it happens by you rebalancing your internal environment, which leads to the external balance. And how you do that is introducing your body into a hormonal alignment instead of the chaos. Because when you've been living in the chaotic state for years on end, because this is how you've been eating, because this is what you were taught, you are going to have an issue with structure inside of your internal and external habits. So a lot of women are stuck in masculine structures right now. Go, go, go. Do, do, do. Take care of everybody else and put your body on the back burner. And now we're seeing the repercussions with our cycle. And it's getting so bad that from people ignoring their cycles that now you feel off. You feel like you're not feminine enough. You're feeling like all of a sudden your cycle has been a punishment, not all of a sudden, but now you're feeling like all of a sudden you're just ready for a hysterectomy and take it out. In order for you to have balance inside of your body, you have to sync with your cycle and know what you were eating. You have to support your hormones through natural habits when it comes to the products that you use and the foods that you eat, and understanding how you have put your body in a chaotic state when it comes to your liver, your pancreas, your womb, your gut, and getting back to detoxifying, releasing, so that your feminine stops suffering. Because like I said in the beginning, it's not only a physical issue, but it's an energetic and a mental issue. And so you have to tailor the spiritual, the emotional, the physical, all to your healthy lifestyle journey. Because if you don't do that, you're not going to see the consistency and you're not going to sustain it. Because your mindset has to be right. And if you are done with this cookie cutter following diet culture and not getting to the strategic root cause of your problem and designing it to help you be able to be in the space of going deeper and healing, and you are tired of the cookie cutter solutions, you're tired of managing band-aids, I can help you with balancing your body. I have a balanced body program. That program is going to help you see how you can make plant-based meals in sync with your cycle, teaching you how to make non-toxic products, and also helping you be able to release and detoxify for those final couple of weeks, because that's what we do. We first get the mental out of the way, deal with all the mental. So if you're struggling, dealing with the issue of seeing the results that you haven't been seeing from diet culture, getting past that thought process of believing in diet culture, then getting to the space of making your plant-based meals, seeing how simple they can be and how delicious they are. And then after we start doing that, this is when we start to ramp up and we start new habits when it comes to the products that we use. Because all of this is rewiring and reparenting. That's all it is. And there is nothing wrong with you not realizing what's been happening. But now that you do, you have to take action towards change. Because sitting here saying, oh, I'll do it tomorrow or next week, if you were going to do it later and you would actually see the results of doing it by yourself, you would have already done it. And I'm speaking as somebody who didn't do it for the longest. I would have already done it. If I would have known the things that I know now, I would have already done it. I would have did it years ago. And the only reason why that I ever switched was because all the information that I teach women in my program, I was brought upon that information and dove deeper, spent years researching. That whole time we were locked up in 2020, we were in the house, I was at home doing research because we finally had time to just sit back and do the things that we wanted to do. And so I was like, well, one thing that I want to do is take care of my body during this time because I have no excuse. I'm not going to work. I'm not out and about all day long. And I started to learn how to take care of my body outside of me just being a gym guru, because I never liked working out in that aspect. I like moving. I like getting up and moving. But I never liked being the gym rat and the gym guru. As many sports as I played, that was not my thing. I did not like going and hitting in the gym. But you have to get it all to go full circle and get into the real talk of how your hormonal imbalance is not what you're designed to have as a woman. That's just something that society has made common. I couldn't get it out. And so food is your most powerful medicine to start with, but you need the strategic tools to help you be able to use food as your medicine. The wrong habits have kept you stuck. And so you're going to stay stuck if you don't change them. So you can't just flop back and forth like diet culture teaches you. You have to change them. You don't need more supplements. You don't need more detoxification bundles that they are giving you with these gurus. You don't need a surgery. You don't need a prescription. You just need a foundation that helps you be able to get the nourishment that you're looking for. Because there's a difference between them selling you something on TikTok Shop saying this is your detoxification pill, take this for 7 days, versus somebody who's telling you, let's sit down and learn what you're eating and why you've developed insulin resistance. Because during my program, we get one-on-ones, and that first initial one-on-one is literally me just figuring out, what's your day like? What do you eat? When you go to work, do you eat? When you are at work, do you go to fast food places? When you're out of work, do we eat fast food? Do you have children? Do you feed your children first? Do you move every single day before you lay everybody down for bed? Like, these are just simple little things that are questions to let me know where the imbalance is, because you have to get to the root. When you get to the root, you can heal all the rest of the tree. But you can't heal the tree from the top of the branch knowing that the roots are sitting there rotting. It's not possible. And that's what your body is doing when it's giving you all these signs and these symptoms. It's letting you know that each aspect of your body is slowly working overtime and slowly breaking itself down each year that goes by and you don't change. And so this is what diseases and illnesses are. Your body breaking itself down. Thank you for all the likes. I really appreciate it. And these are signs. That's the reason why you're having symptoms from your body to let you know it's breaking down and you're not helping me. You don't need to sit here and start calorie counting and restricting in order for you to feel like you're worthy of something and not eating when you're hungry. You don't need to be pressured into some other diet, because you have to understand that I've been plant-based for almost 5 years. It'll be 5 years in October. There's not a day that I go by where I'm sitting here like, oh, I'm so hungry, I can't eat anything. Oh my goodness. But when you follow diet culture, that's how you are. You can eat even when you're hungry, because your body's going to have a natural response. If you eat every single day at 10 o'clock, at 10 o'clock, at 10:05, your stomach is going to be growling and it's going to be like, why is this girl not feeding me? But when you learn the habits to be able to help yourself sustain so that you can extend that, now you're not eating until 12, now you're not eating until 1, but you set yourself up with the nutrients that you should be getting, you'll see the difference between you just jumping into oh, I'm not going to eat today, versus you setting yourself up to now, I fast every single day until about 2 p.m. I'm not insulin resistant. And it's not that I'm starving myself, because if I do get hungry around 12, I'm going to eat. But if I don't get hungry until 2, 3, I'm not going to eat then. And that wasn't because I starved myself into being that, but I worked my way up to it by being, okay, I'm going to start water first, fruits and vegetables afterwards. And then if I'm really hungry after that, I can eat something else. Because the problem is not that you're hungry. The problem is the choices that you have when you are hungry and what you choose to eat. Because too many of y'all are so heavily trained into fast, quick meals that you don't even see how lacking you are when it comes to real whole foods. Because the fruits, the vegetables that come from the earth, that's real whole foods. And so when you're eating real whole foods, you feel like a partner again with your body, versus it feeling like it's punishing you from the inside out. So whether you're looking for a help for cooking and you want plant-based recipes, or you want a balanced blueprint that's going to help you be able to get your body together, I have that support for you that's linked in my bio. If you want that cookbook, it is linked in my bio. You can go check it out. And the Balanced Body Program is always available to the women who are ready to change. You can get everything with Klarna, Affirmer, Afterpay, because it's time for us to make a shift as women. We have generation after generation of women who don't know how to take care of their body and be supported. And now here we are, sitting here at our big old ripe ages and about to hit 2026 and still dealing with millions of women having hormonal imbalances, and then banking on us by 2030 making them $1 trillion profit off of us being insulin resistant and overweight. And when you look at society, that's the pace that we are at. We're already there, honestly. I don't know what the numbers are at, but I can guarantee we'll probably hit that $1 trillion profit before 2030. That's just their projection. And the reason why, if y'all start syncing with your cycle, they'll have less women that are insulin resistant. They'll have less women that are dealing with weight issues in general. They'll have more women who are now healing their fibroids or their cysts without a surgery or without birth control. But you have to get out of the programming. You have to get out of the mindset of thinking that what you're doing is fine and you'll figure it out one day, because you haven't figured it out. And there's nothing against you for not figuring it out in the space that you're in, because that's what you've been taught. But we have to reparent that. And how we reparent it is first getting to the root cause of what is causing the issue, so that you can see how the programming has misled you. So if you are ready for that, the link is in my bio. If you have any questions, please drop them down. What questions do you guys have for me before I get off? Thank you for the roses. I really appreciate it. I will try to help you to the best ability that I can. But if I have any product or service that I know that will support you better than me just answering your questions on here, I will redirect you to that. If you have any questions about the program, or if any of the links don't work, please DM me. I will help you out be able to do that. Thank you for the roses and thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. Any questions for me? Any questions at all? And this live will be posted on YouTube. All of my past lives are posted on YouTube every Tuesday and Thursday. I post. I think I'm on backlog right now, so this might not be posted until next week. We'll see. I might post it on Thursday. Do you see my I do not see any questions. I think it filtered you. I do not see any questions. No. Yeah, I only see your likes and then people coming in and out. Yeah, no, it must have filtered your question. But you didn't give me a notification that it filtered anything, so interesting. Interesting. I know TikTok is shifting when it comes to its rules and regulations. So I don't know exactly what they have going on. I just try to make my content is TikTok friendly as possible. And that's one thing that, like, why I push my program so heavy. There's a lot of things that I can't say and talk about on here. They don't even like me using the word heal, so I have to use it sparingly. It won't let me send it. Yeah, that's why I said I don't know what exact you have to either reword it or send it in two separate parts. That's why I said I don't know what they're doing with the rules and regulations on this app. But I do know everything is shifting. So they're being very, very picky. I was in shadow ban for a little minute, for using just the incorrect words and spilling too much information. So the Balanced Body program has been here, but a lot of the things that I used to say, I can't say it anymore. So I have to reiterate it in the program rather than having it here. And my most recent client, from having our life masterclass, which is living intentionally, flowing energetically, within 3 days she was seeing a difference, not only in her actions but also with her mindset, when it came towards her food and her movement. And she has, I think she had 3 or 4 children, 2 older, or the 3 older, 1 younger one, if not 2 older and 1 younger one. I don't know if it was 3 or 4, I can't remember. But she was talking about how she was feeling different, but she didn't say anything to anybody until her coworker had come up to meet her and was like, "You're looking better, you're eating better, like, what's going on, what are you doing," like, type situation. And I was like, that's because you don't have to say anything, because when you are living that acronym of life, living intentionally, flowing energetically, everybody around you is going to feel it and see it. And it's because you have the intention of, I'm taking care of myself, I see myself, and I'm a person that deserves things. And if I'm not getting those things here, I need to change. And she wasn't getting those things. And her coworkers were seeing her in the beginning, telling her, "You don't eat that much. I'm not understanding why you're gaining all this weight. You don't consume this much food. I'm not understanding how all of a sudden you went from this weight to this weight, or why you look so different." But they noticed immediately when she swapped up her habits. And it's because that's an energetic issue. It's a big energetic issue. If you're somebody who is calorie counting and restricting or not eating and skipping meals, and you're still not seeing the results, that's not only a physical issue but an energetic issue. And something is off. And it's okay. We just have to find what it is with the strategy. You said I'm plant-based but deal with premenstrual symptoms. What are the suggestions? That's a hormone. That's a hormonal imbalance. I talked about that earlier. Because you have to think about it, for the fact that just because you're premenopause does not mean or premenstrual. Is a menopause. It's a premenstrual. So that's a hormonal imbalance. If you're dealing with PMSing. I'm assuming that's what you're saying. Like I said earlier, that is a hormonal issue. We have to get your hormones in check. So what are you eating? It's a matter of what foods you're eating. So you're having an overload of progesterone. Correct. That's what I'm hearing. Because if you're having issues of that, you're not pregnant, but you're having pregnancy numbers, that means that you're having an overload of progesterone, which is a hormonal issue as well. So you're saying when you were, so I'm assuming you're no longer. So what does that say? Oh, they didn't test your progesterone. Well, if you're having issues of the fact that you're having numbers that are reflecting pregnancy, but you're not pregnant, that's tied to your progesterone, which is your hormone. It's either estrogen or progesterone that is going to have you thrown off when it comes to your menstrual cycle. But like I said, I can't pinpoint it exactly without knowing more details. That's the reason why when you're in the program, we talk about more in-depth strategies, step by step, for you, Taylor, specifically, because if they tested your estrogen and your estrogen isn't so you're not estrogen dominant, or are you estrogen dominant, and that's why they were telling you that? Because you could have both. Like, that's what we have to understand. It's not just one of one. It could be both. I do online consultations, meetings, sessions, however you want to put it, and as well as the program. So your estrogen is normal. So yeah, you probably have an overload of progesterone. Definitely. You have high estrogen. Okay, but what else do you eat, Angel? You only eat fruits and vegetables, and that you only eat them raw, and you're still having an issue of an overload of estrogen? That's the only thing that you eat. No bread, no dairy, no meat, no sugary drinks, no snacks. You only eat raw fruits and vegetables. I think I already said bread. I'm trying to think of like the other things. Rice. like nothing else. Thank you guys for the likes. I really appreciate it. Oh, for 60 days, that's not going to be long enough. I'm going to be 1,000% honest. If you're, depending on what type of issues that you're having, I'm just going to be 1,000% honest. You can start to see, are you seeing differences? Because there's there's no set way to do it specifically. That's why I say the strategy has to be tailored to you, because it could be an energetic issue, it could be work stress, high cortisol. It could also be the fact that your body does not respond to the raw fruits and vegetables as much as you're doing, and it's not giving you enough of what you need, and so this is causing more issues. This is why I said that I'm not saying you have to go completely raw, because that doesn't work for everybody. There are certain, especially for women, because that's why I said we have to sync with our cycle. There's a phase where, yes, it's great for you to eat raw fruits and vegetables that whole entire time, but then afterwards you're gonna need the things to build you up to support you during your cycle phases. So raw might not be something that you need for 60 days straight. You might need it maybe 2 weeks out of the month, 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. So that's something that deeper I think that we should have a session on. If you are open to having a session, I do have individual sessions linked to my bio. Or if you were looking to get into the Balanced Body program, I teach you how to sync with your cycle with food, more in depth. But I hope that helps. I don't know what your name is, but the little shrug emoji. Um, I'm not saying that you don't go to your doctor and get it tested again, but I don't think you would really need to go back to the doctor, but rather just start eating more foods to help you balance your progesterone and your estrogen, because you want to support your estrogen during that time. If your estrogen is already optimal and it's in a good space, you want to keep it that way. But you also want to support your progesterone, because you don't want to give yourself estrogen dominance trying to fix your progesterone. So you want to eat more progesterone balancing foods, but you also want to make sure that you're not causing estrogen dominance by eating things like soy, tofu, and etc. like that will cause your progesterone to lower and your estrogen to raise, because you're putting in that plant-based phytoestrogen, I think that's the word that it is. And phytoestrogens, and a majority of women's bodies, from what I've talked to, and what I've experienced, phytoestrogens cause your body to go into estrogen dominance, because your body goes into fight or flight mode, because that's a foreign estrogen. It's not the estrogen that we produce. It is a plant-based estrogen. It doesn't happen to everybody, but from research, from what it's saying, that's what they say according to their research of like old studies, but from what they're seeing nowadays, when we're adding more soy, we're adding more tofu and things like that in their mix, and they're seeing more people go plant-based or vegan, and they're using soy products, they're saying that estrogen dominance is kind of coming from that because of the phytoestrogens. I don't eat soy and tofu and all those different things. I don't promote people to using it. All of my recipes are soy free. And if people have issues like nut allergies and things, I also have alternatives for that too. But I have a lot of nut based recipes in my cookbooks. And the reason why that I don't promote soy is because that's a big issue for women, is having estrogen dominance as well as men. And like we've talked about, estrogen dominance causes cancer. So I think that is a really, really slippery slope to go down, of trusting them and saying that it doesn't cause it. But we know that plants give you phytoestrogens, and phytoestrogens are not what we produce when it comes to estrogen. So those are just like little things that get tweaked in strategies that we make sure that you are aware of during the program, because there's those little things really can throw you completely off. Because let's say that you are eating raw fruits and vegetables and things like that, that can completely throw off your journey just by you eating the wrong type of raw fruit or vegetable, that it's going to cause you to have phytoestrogens. Like, or even but that's the thing. There are phytoestrogens, because that's the same thing as you saying that you eat oranges only for vitamin C. It gives you other things. But when you have a little minimal amount of phytoestrogen versus soy has a lot of phytoestrogens, that little minimal amount is going to get expelled, and you're going to pee, poop, whatever, and you're going to go on, and it's not going to affect you. But when you have something that's completely soy based, like you covered your rice all in soy sauce, and that's a lot of soy, or you made, lo mein and you covered it all in soy sauce, that's a soy based product. That's a lot of soy. And so that is going to cause you to have way more estrogen. That is what is going to be expelled on a normal basis. And I'm speaking as somebody who has had estrogen dominance and has had the issue of eating soy and not consuming it and or consuming it and not knowing what it was doing, rather, because when I first went plant-based, I was only eating lo mein every now and then. There's vegetable lo mein, and I was eating it heavy 1 month. I had been perfectly fine with my cycle before then. I had gotten off all my prescriptions, and one day I just went with my niece and we got some vegetable lo mein because we were out and about, and I was like, you know what, I want to go get some more. And then I had had it about 3 or 4 times that month, and my cycle was so painful that month. Mind you, I don't use soy products, nor do I consume them on a regular basis, but I had forgotten they use soy sauce. And so when I'd stopped eating that, my cycle went back to normal. So this is what I mean when I say, like, it's a slippery slope. It's a dangerous game to play because it might not affect everybody. You might be perfectly fine detoxifying and getting rid of it, but a lot of women can't. A lot of women are not only not in the space when it comes to their liver to detoxify it, but then they also have hormonal imbalances already. So why would you put more for your body to have to deal with when we're trying to heal? Yes, I know. I eat chickpeas and I eat black beans all the time. What I'm saying is when you are consuming something like a fruit, let's say you're trying to eat an orange and you're like, I need vitamin C. You're not just getting vitamin C from that orange, but let's say it's giving you vitamin A, D, C, whatever else. There only so much of it. And that's the reason why they promote to you that it gives you good vitamin C, because the highest level is vitamin C when it comes to the nutrients that it gives you. But it gives you other things. Yes, chickpeas and black beans have a little bit of phytoestrogens. Every plant is going to have phytoestrogens because every plant is a plant. Like, it's a plant. It's from the earth. Everything is going to have a little bit of phytoestrogens. But soy, that's their main nutrients, estrogen. That's one of their main sources of nutrients that gets from that, phytoestrogens. It's the same thing how when you eat beans and you get the toots. It's because of I can't think of the word right now, goodness, but it's a nutrient that either is broken down by a healthy gut or it causes discomfort, which causes gas. So when you're, next time, just thinking about it, and when you're having the issue of bloating and you're gassy after you eat some beans and you're thinking, ooh, it gave me toots, your pH in your stomach wasn't high enough. And so that's why I mean that some people are okay with eating all this soy and it doesn't really affect their body because they weren't ever dealing with hormonal imbalances. But it's a slippery slope to play with, because let's say that you don't have it now, but you've been eating soy for 20 years and now you develop cancer. You can't sit there and say, I don't know where the cancer came from, because you've been estrogen dominant, but you haven't realized. And so it's a slippery slope that I don't play with, and I don't promote any of my clients to play with either. That's the reason why I'm so heavy on no soy at all. Like, So, because when I try to make it simplified, because if I say, well, chickpeas, beans, all these different things have phytoestrogens, now you're sitting here saying, and you're thinking and you're questioning me like, well, how am I supposed to heal if you just said estrogen is all bad? But when I break it down and I allow you to understand it, you see how now you're like, okay, I understand. I get the difference between the two. And so that's why I say that I don't promote it, because if I start throwing all the information at you and you've never learned how to eat a plant-based meal before, you're going to get overwhelmed. And I'm here to simplify it. I'm not here to overwhelm you like when you go to the doctor and they start telling you you need all of these scientific terms and you have this going on. And then they're like, oh, let me break it down to you. Here it is. Like, no. We're going to break it down first. And then when you have questions of the simplified version, that's perfectly fine. But I'm not going to sit here and be like, you do know that androgens and this, and then I'm sitting here not telling you what an androgen is. What's good for fibroids? If you have a fibroid, you have to eat more fruits and vegetables, and you have to cut out everything else, because you have not only fibroids are an energetic issue. So fibroids, they stem from stressors, whether it's physical stressors or mental stressors or both. That's something that you have to do a full I don't want to say reset, but I want to say a full observational change, if that makes sense. Like, that's something that, yes, I would recommend you go raw fruits and vegetables, making sure that you're eating more raw fruits and vegetables, cutting out meat. But winging yourself off is something that is up to you. It depends on how bad it is, how deep it goes. Because if you're struggling every month and you're suffering and you're in pain every single month and you're tired of it and you're trying to think about a solution and you're thinking maybe I'm going to go get a surgery, then no. Cut it cold turkey. Stop eating all the stuff, fruits and vegetables raw. But if you're like, I can work with this, it might take 6 months, it might take a year, but I'm okay with that, then we can do the slow process. There is options. So I said it's not one size fits all. It's the matter of what do you want to do and how do you want to do it. Because you can do the most intensive change, or you can do the slow gradual. Do you want to do and how do you want to do it? Because you can do the most intensive change, or you can do the slow gradual. It's all up to you. But either way, the strategy is tailored to you based on when you come into the program, what you let me know what you need support with, and we go from there, because it all is based on your lifestyle. It's not based on, okay, this is what I did and this is how you do it. I tell you what I did and I tell you how I did it, but I want to know what your life is looking like so that we can help you be able to achieve those things, because I can't go into your home and make you eat these things. You have to be comfortable. I can't go into your home and make you change your habits. You have to want this for yourself. And that's why I say that for the women who want a change, they want the strategy, they go and they get that. They don't ask too many questions about, okay, well, how do I do this? And okay, if I try this, is it really going to work? They know it's going to work. They're just waiting for a strategy that actually is going to support them. And when they finally see it and they see the changes that I've made, and if you haven't seen the changes, go look at it's literally a pinned video on my TikTok. Go check it out. Go look at how I changed. My body was completely off. I felt good. I looked good. But my body was off. And I don't eat any, I mean, I guess I eat a little bit less, but during the time of those pictures of me in that pink dress, I don't eat any less than what I was eating then. I was already fasting because that was after 2020. I think it was 2021 I took those pictures because that was at my best friend's wedding. I had already been intermittent fasting, but I wasn't eating any less than what I do now. Yet my body has completely shifted. So that's all I'm gonna say. And if you don't believe me, go look at it. So any more questions? Most salad dressing not only has soy, it also has different type of processed things in it, like citric acid that's made from black mold, eggs, dairy. A lot of them, if you're not getting eggs, dairy, a lot of them, if you're not getting vegan condiments, you shouldn't be eating sauces that you're not making at home by yourself. Any more questions for me at all? If not, I'm going to hop off. All these things are like making noises at us now. They weren't making noises before, but now they're like, okay, noise. Any questions? And like I said, if you want to check out that program, or if you want to learn how to make your plant-based meals and recipes, it is linked in my bio. How long did it take me to heal my cycle when I started syncing with it? It's not necessarily like it's going to happen one day. You're just going to heal it and it's going to fix itself within that month. But rather, I started to see little changes. Like, I think the most thing that like was taking me the longest is the heaviness. But one day, literally, like I stopped taking my prescriptions, went through a cycle. It was terrible. The first one was terrible, and that was just because I didn't change anything that I was eating at first, because I hadn't started syncing with my cycle, but I wanted to heal it, so I needed to know what it felt like. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I was like, how bad is it? What is it naturally doing? And I'm not saying you have to do this, but I am one of those people where I see the full plethora, so I wanted to see the full plethora. And I realized very quickly, I'm like, okay, so I am dealing with estrogen dominance. I think this is probably maybe 6 months in to me being plant-based, I want to say. And so I had stopped taking prescriptions, I think 3 or 4 months in. So I think by the 6th month, that was when I was starting to see the difference. So about like 3 or 4 months in, I was like, you know what, I'm not going to take any more pain pills around my cycle. I started to see a difference. That first time afterwards, when I had eaten more fruits, eaten more vegetables, I had done the correct time of me fasting and eating those fruits and vegetables raw, and it wasn't painful. It was a little uncomfortable. I had like a moment or two, and then it didn't start doing anything until I ate something wrong. And then I realized, oh, I can't eat these during this time. And this was before I realized the thing about soy, I want to say. I feel like it. Because I feel like the soy issue happened probably like a year in, because like I said, I was out and about, I was hungry, and I was like, I just want some vegetable lo mein. So about that time, for probably about 3-4 months, I had no issues with my cycle, and it felt really good. And I was like, oh, okay. Then I had the slip up with the vegetable lo mein. Then I triggered it and realized it's because I don't even eat soy on a regular basis anyway. And so I was like, okay. I only usually ever eat soy when I go to some type of Asian cuisine or something like that. And so I peeped it. It was not hard for me to fix. But like I said, I had already changed so many of my other eating habits. It was not hard for me to pinpoint. And so now here I am almost 5 years in. And the only thing that I ever really deal with now anymore is just like it becoming heavy because I ate too much or I didn't eat the right things. And it's not painful. Like compared to what it used to do, it used to almost take me out every single month. Like people would tell me, like, you look pale, you look like you're about to pass out, why are you not at home, like type situation. Now I'm up functioning, I'm doing things. It might be a little heavier, like I said, if I'm eating something like, I'm trying to think of like the last thing that I've eaten where I was like, oh, I probably shouldn't have ate that, but it didn't really cause much pain. I feel like maybe it was like French fries. Like it was something like that. Because when you're eating inflammatory foods during that time, you're going to bleed more. And so I stopped eating all the inflammatory foods before, during, after, and it stopped. Because I used to eat a whole lot of fried foods. I was eating a whole lot of fried foods before then. I grew up in the South. And right around the time that I went plant-based, I kind of cut out all the fried food. And when I cut out all the fried food, I stopped having all those painful cycles. The sugar is a big issue, but sugar really, before I knew sugar was not a good, like a thing that I should be eating during my cycle. But before, I was like, oh, I'm gonna eat this right before, it'll be fine. I stopped doing that. I stopped having all the pain. You just gotta start eating. But when you cut out the sugar that they give us, this toxic, terrible sugar that they give us, you have to put in the plant-based sugars, because your body needs to learn how to recognize sugar again. So you have to be eating those plant-based sugars and stabilizing yourself, because if you're not stabilizing the sugars, you're never going to be able to recognize them correctly again. And so I teach you what stabilizers are in that Eating Away Diabetes cookbook, because that's a part of you balancing your blood sugar using stabilizers. They do. They feed it. Chicken feeds type 2 diabetes. Meat in general, red meat specific, it gives you cancer, and it feeds fibroids, because fibroids is a tumor, I guess to say. I mean, yeah, a tumor, I guess that'd be a good way to describe it. So yeah, that makes a whole lot of sense. It makes a whole lot of sense. And that's why when I talk to women that are having issues of fibroids or cysts, we talk about what do you use to eat. And it's usually either, oh, I only eat chicken and this. And then I'm like, okay, well, you do understand that that feeds type 2 diabetes. And diabetes is fed because you are in insulin resistant state. So that means that you're in insulin resistance, which is going to cause X, Y, and Z, which leads you down the path of tumors. What is a tumor? Fibroids. So it's a full circle. I'm not seeing any more questions from y'all, so I'm going to hop off. I didn't know what that line was. So what is that line? It's somebody who just joined. I thought it was like my phone was broken. I was like, now wait a minute, because that wasn't there. I gotta go to the store, give my dog some things from the store. So like I said, if you have any questions about that program, or if you have any questions about the masterclass that I talked about, the masterclass replay, y'all are so welcome. If you want to know more about the Eating Away Diabetes cookbook, or if the links aren't working, please DM me. I will be back sometime this week. I go live 3 times the week, so if you're on my email list, you will know when I go live. I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your Monday. Angel, you can join with Klarna Firma Afterpay. We'll wait for you. We're waiting for you. You have every opportunity that you can for you to be able to change the current reality that you're having with your health. It's just a matter of you sitting down and saying, I'm ready to do it. Because the women who do Jenny Craig, Weight Watchers, keto, paleo, and all that different stuff, they drop it drop of a hat. They're ready to do it. So think about how they do that, and they do it on their own, or you do it and you do it on your own, and it doesn't really sustain, but it works right then and there. So think about something that you can sustain, because that's what I'm teaching you. By the end of the 6-week program, you're going to be able to sustain that. You're not just going to be sitting here going, oh, I don't know what to do anymore. Within the first couple of weeks, you're already going to know which direction we're going, what's going on inside of your body, and how you start healing with food. And then we start trickling in products, and we start trickling in natural medicine and things like that, and you'll see how all of it changes and shifts. So I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your Monday. Thank you guys for the likes and the comments. I truly do appreciate you guys. We will be back. I don't know exactly what day, but you can get on my email list. Every Tuesday and Thursday, I post on YouTube the past lives. So if you missed this live or you missed last week's live or any live in general, go check out my YouTube. Go follow me, and you will get all of the lives just in case you do miss them. I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your Monday, and I'm out, y'all. Peace.